Welcome back, Neon Peeps. It's Neon. Oh my gosh, my mic's not even close. Welcome back, Neon Peeps. It's Neon Detective here. Today we have the marathon announcement trailer that just dropped from Bungie. That's going to be coming out. Well, we don't know, but I might have found a clue that actually tells us when the game is coming out. We'll get to that Easter egg later. Before I get into the trailer though, there's a lot of glitches and things. I'm not going to focus too much on that. There's a whole ARG video that's out there by Scaro9. They solved it. They were able to unlock the Vidoc for everybody, which is really cool, but he has a whole video on it that you should go check out. When I'm skipping over the glitches and stuff, that's just because it's more related towards the ARG and whatnot. Anyway, getting to the trailer now. So Marathon is set in the year 2850, I think. It's also, there's clone technology that allows a person to reliably shift their consciousness from their born body to a new synthetic body and back again. Basically, you are this runner that goes in, finds loots, artifacts, and weapons and whatnot, and then you try to extract. So it's an extract game like Tarkov. So you might hear me make references to that. We open up on glowing mushrooms, and according to my AI plant app, this mushrooms are most likely wax gills or wax caps, which are poisonous, and we see gas come up immediately after the runner steps on this. Now, I wouldn't think too much about it until I saw the interview with Scott Taylor on Bungie's news website. Now, he mentioned that he went through a greenhouse and there was poison damage, so I'm just thinking that maybe the environment might be a little more hostile than we think. Now, moving on, we see a runner, which I would presume to be the equivalent of a PMC in Tarkov, sprinting down the tunnel. Obviously, this runner's in a rush. There's a countdown timer on the back going from 40 all the way down to 0, and so this is most likely the time he has left before they have to extract. Then we go ahead and we see these close-up of robotic silkworms with a QR code on the front. Again, this is the ARG, but the silkworm is putting some sort of mesh synthetic material over these wires. So the silkworms are basically creating the body or the exoskeleton for this synthetic body, where I guess our consciousness will be put into. And we can also see that the Traxus company is on these silkworms, so this is like a Traxus made body, as well as some sort of code. Again, this is probably with the ARG. Moving forward, we see our runner run with the countdown going even lower, and then we come back to the details of the synthetic body being created. It was very beautiful, very stunning, and we see also the synthetic organs that are inside, which looks like blue veins, but we'll get back to this later in a bit. And then we come again to our runner, and we see now the UESC logo on the back, which stands for the Unified Earth Space Council. That is Earth's body of government that is also exerting control over Mars in the Marathon universe, which also kind of reminds me of the United Nations Space Command in Halo, the UNSC. Progressing further down the hall, we see Bungie's logo on the wall, and we also see what appears to be either a reflection or something glowing on the runner's shoulder in that scene. But you also notice that the items are different on the runner in different scenes in the trailer, showing you that there's just different types of loot that you pick up, and it seems to attach to your body as well. And then we kind of get this wall that's blue and red, and I thought this was still the tunnel just a little bit further down, but then I realized this is actually the outside of this spaceship. So we get this wide shot of the space station or spaceship that's like lodged in a moon. Again, you can see that red and blue paint job. If you zoom in, you can see the UESC on the back of the ship. So now in the old Marathon game, Deimos was one of Mars' moons and was converted into the colony ship UESC Marathon. But Deimos had an irregular shaped kind of moon compared to another moon called Phobos that was more round. So I wonder if this moon finally got turned into a ship, as we see here in the trailer, or into a colony ship, and is described as a ghost ship over Tau Ceti on the website, on the Marathon website, and you can see it says UESC on the back of the ship. So maybe it's UESC Marathon, or maybe it's some other ship, who knows? But yeah, that's kind of my little theory that maybe this is Phobos. As the timer ticks down, we pan over to the synthetic body being created. We now see the Traxus global mark on the machine saying it's full at 48 somehow, but we're basically seeing Traxus company build the synthetic body that will eventually shift someone's consciousness into. Now, so far we've seen UESC and Traxus Global, but there's also other companies that have been through the ARG, and also through some of the interviews that are Maida and Sekiguchi Genetics. Probably some other companies in the game we'll discover, and I'm guessing that these are going to be the ones that give us contracts, like in Tarkov. You go in to complete these contracts, you get loot or extra experience or something. It could also be that Traxus is the enemy NPC in this game, because according to the 1994 wiki, Traxus was an AI that went rampant and did bad stuff on Mars. So maybe Traxus is actually just this whole controlled AI creating these synthetic bodies, putting them out into the field. But Yeah, anyway, it's just kind of speculation. We have one quick moment where the runner goes by and we see some text on the side that looks like car or something. I later on figured out this means carry or cargo. At some points it looks like it says cap, but it's just actually probably carry. And then we go back to the back to tank and we see the words deliver, connect, and attach here on this big green back to tank. I don't know what else to call it. And it has the symbol with Traxus on the pod. All throughout the trailer, we see all these verbs put on different items like deliver, pull, attach here, connect. It's basically this whole game is just one big Bop-it. Moving on, now we finally get a glimpse at a classic Marathon terminal. So back in the 1994 game, you would use these terminals to access logs or extra lore to progress the story and also to save your game. So Bungie is always fantastic with the story, so I'm sure we'll get more lore bits from the terminals. But in this one, we can barely make it out, but it does say terminal reboot and the time is 2:38. And then zooming in on the terminal, it says in the heavens they are waiting, which is one of Marathon's original taglines for the game. So going forward, we see the futuristic dog tag created for the synthetic body, and it's really hard to read what's on the dog tag, but I did kind of zoom in on one of the 4K pictures and it got some random text, but it kind of looked like it said Pablo testing. So good job, Pablo, keep testing. And then we also see 07 and NU, but according to the periodic table, there is no NU element. I mean, unless if you take them separately, which would be nitrogen, uranium. I don't know how that would relate to the game, but I do hope they make a physical copy of these dog tags because it looks really cool. Hopefully they glow and, you know, neon look like, you know, neon detective, right? Next, we see one of the classic species from Marathon called the Fit. There's no vowel, it's just which are a race of aliens that were cybernetically enhanced by another alien species called the Jaro. There's a lot of lore. I was going to try to add some of it more into this video, but honestly, it's just, you know, it has to be a separate video. So if you want to see that video, let me know. But anyway, one thing to know about this alien is that they have this like red cloak that kind of float, has like an alien shaped head. It's all cybernetics underneath that cloak, and basically they open up the cloak and they shoot that green beam. It's like a green orb that shot at you. It's very powerful apparently in the game. It's a really cool design in my opinion, and I know that we're going to be seeing these all throughout the map, and it's going to be probably one of those like terrorizing enemies that when you see them, like shit, I gotta get out of here, you know. The next scene, we see what looks like a paint gun. It looks like a paint gun filling up to add that colorful style to the Traxus character. So this makes me think that customizing your character in Marathon is going to be very extensive. I mean, all the way down to tattoos, lip gloss and whatnot. And we come back to the runner. We have a bit more detail on the tunnel and we see the letter B above referencing where they are on the map. So one thing to note while we're going through the trailer is I was looking at all the environments, trying to place where they were on the map, because they do a zoom out at the end of the trailer showing you the map area, but it has no, you know, similar areas or recognizable areas what we're seeing in this trailer. I looked at the Vidoc and they actually show another map that they're working on, and it has this A and B zones, and I think I can pinpoint where it is. I'll try to, you know, have that pop up and show you right now, but I think it's around this area, which we'll see at the end of the map when they go outside into the water. In the tunnel, we also see water reflected off the ceiling. In the 1994 Marathon game, you were also able to go in space, on land, and in water for combat. So from what has been said so far, it seems like the player will have health and oxygen to manage. So I would probably expect really diverse combat scenarios in this game, different combat environments as well. We have a little note on the wall saying drum simulation unite, probably more clues for the ARG. And then we get a still of the character running, which gives us more details on what they're carrying, like an orange bag that says ECH, which looks kind of like the med kit possibly for this game. It's interesting because later on we see the same bag, but it doesn't say ECH anymore. But with a quick Google search, ECH could stand for epichlorohydrin, which is a special liquid that makes things like glue or plastic or rubber, but it's highly reactive, which would make sense as the healing item for synthetic being. Now we can also see a bag labeled 32P, which is probably ammo. There's some more lettering on the side of the character, again that carry logo, and then we also see the weapon, which has a similar design to the 1994 Marathon game weapon, which was a KKV-7 10mm SMG Flechette. Now the only reason why I say this is because the scope and the barrel kind of similar placement, but later on in the video I might double back on this because I think another theory about this weapon. But what's interesting is that you can see that the weapon handles are white and later in the video they're black, so that's why there could be different weapons. But I'm only guessing what's, you know, what I'm observing here. So I mean, it's just speculation, you know, just trying to be a detective. As we see the character run outside, the screen zooms in on the helmet as if someone is aiming for the head. And then we cut to the next scene, which is the shot of our runner being shot. And from this scene, it's very important because there's a lot of details that pop up here. So first, headshots, probably going to be lethal in this game or very lethal. As second, the runner has an Amazon backpack Like what? Third, the gun model has different colors and the magazine that says .308. So this could mean that the weapon isn't SMG. It's probably a rifle of some sort. Fourth, we see the word pull on the belt. This will be referenced later on when the character pulls something off the character and the handles are different than what we see now. And then lastly, one of the most important details is where's the ECH bag? I don't see the ECH. I see a blue bag now that has the numbers 27-04. And why is this big? Well, Americans might not get this, but for Europeans, you recognize that the date structure is days and then month. And so here, 27-04 would be April 27th. So what if this is actually the release date for the game next year? Because we know that they haven't even gone into alpha yet, but they're going soon, which means that then it'll be a beta or something like this. But this does give about a good enough time from where it looks like the game is out already that this could be the release date. And Bungie loves to always throw in Easter eggs of when things are coming out, or just in general. Like for example, in Halo ODST, they had a whole poster for Destiny and no one even knew about it until after it came out, and they saw it back and they were able to see that there was a Destiny poster in Halo ODST. So this is my little speculation on that number right there. As we go forward, in the next thing, we see the fully created Traxus character who has a bigger scope and longer barrel than the Runner weapon. And when we zoom in, we see more detail about the weapon. It looks amazing. We see more detail about the character. There's some numbers all over the place. Nothing super important or detailed here to kind of like look more into. But then we go back to our character or Runner, who is now bleeding out blue in this milky water, which creates this nice vivid art style that I think is really cool. And if you remember the blue liquid from before, whether that was the paint for the lips or maybe this is the blue liquid that's being injected into the veins of the synthetic body, this could be a reference to that as well. Now, I did think the chest piece said spectator on it because it says SPCTR, and so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It changes to spectator when you die. But actually, earlier in the trailer, you can see Spectre on the chest as well. Now, you see the yellow handle on the body. This is a little confusing for me because then when the Traxus character in the next scene pulls something from the body, it's an orange handle. So that's why I'm wondering if it's a reference to the pulling on the side of that character. Now, I'm guessing this is probably like the loot or data or maybe the dog tags that we see as well. Now, as we zoom out, we see two other characters in the background sporting that bright yellow-green neon-like outfit, like our Traxus character that we saw created, as well as showing that they are in a team. So it's said that you can play up to 3 people in a team for these extraction rounds. And one of the characters has an orange bag that also says 27.04. And then they're also carrying a basic weapon, while the other character looks like they're holding a shorter weapon, which could be the Zeus class fusion pistol with the boxy design. Again, it's kind of hard to see from here, but it kind of has that look. Now, as we zoom out, we see the map, which is showing how large the zone will be. However, our characters are definitely not on this map because I can't find any reference point or anything that looks even familiar from the trailer in this area. But I think it's what we saw on the Vidoc. That's the map that they were using for the video. We zoom out even further, we see this huge storm or hurricane that's on Tau Ceti, the planet, which is kind of hinting at dynamic weather conditions possibly in game. And then lastly, we see the final shape. The Traveler has been pierced. This is Destiny 3. Nah, I'm just kidding. That is the colony ship inside the moon, possibly the UESC Marathon ship or the Phobos or something else. But what's cool here is it's actually the Marathon logo. If you look at it, there's the circle in the middle, the line down, and the circle for the planet in the background. So anyway, I think the game looks beautiful, and Bungie is definitely a studio that we can probably trust to make or to deliver a really good FPS shooter game. The question is will it be good because this is one of their first shooter games that's or FPS games that's going to be PvP first or focused. So I'm curious how they're going to deliver that. I do have some speculation on the lore bits, but I'm probably going to save that for another video. What I do know is I probably need to upgrade my PC before this game comes out. But yeah, so if you like the breakdown or you noticed something that I didn't notice, or maybe I called something out wrong, maybe I was wrong in the lore or something like this, please comment below, like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. It'd be awesome. But yeah, peace.